Tonight's show is one act, so no intermission, straight through. Now, let me let you know kind of how this whole thing got started here. There was something very exciting, very, very exciting that happened here the other night. We had a seance. We had a seance right here. We got some special people together, lit some candles, lit incense. We had a seance right here in the theater, and we were able to contact Fanny Brice, the real Fanny Brice. Now, I invited her to come back to Earth tonight to tell us what's true and what's not true about her life. And, you know, we've all have seen Funny Girl and know all a little bit about her, but we want to know what the real truth is. So she has agreed to come back right here, right now, right about this time. Now, since this is her very first return to Earth in many, many moons, let's wish her a very comfortable and pleasant journey to Miss Fanny Brice.
Ay, 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 what a trip, what a trip. Lightning, thunder, wind, rain. Ay, ay, ay. You wouldn't believe it. I think it was a hurricane. Whose crazy idea was that? Oh boy, what a trip. Huh. I feel like the wreck of the Hesperus, you know. But, well, what can I say? I made it. So, I guess you can say, Fanny Brice is really down to earth. Yeah, you know, it's true. It's true. And I'm here. I don't even know if I'm in the right place. I'm supposed to be what they call the other paradise, Sarasota, Florida. Did I make it? I'm here. Oh, it's like a miracle, I'm telling you, because I was always lousy with directions. East, west, north, south. Now I got up and down too, so I made it. So that's good. So, you kids, I want to talk to you, but first, I feel like the wreck of the Hesperus. I got to fix up a little, and then we'll talk. You got a mirror. Let me see. Well, hello, gorgeous. Whoa. Hey, I don't look so bad for my age. You know, I was 59 when I kicked the bucket. That's what I was. Back in 1957, 59. I know what you're thinking. I look a lot older. But there's reason for that, good reason. I was a hard-working woman all my life. And number two, Botox wasn't invented. So now, you kids, you want to know what's true and what's not so true about my life, like it was portrayed in the show Funny Girl. Let's make a deal, okay? I'm going to tell you some things you want to know. If you can tell me, you'll stop doing something that drives me bananas. What is? Sometimes I see one person goes into a club. Oh, it's really bright in here. Person goes into a club and you say, Miss, could you please sing Secondhand Rose like Barbara Streisand? Like Barbara Streisand? Why like Barbara Streisand? Why not like Fanny Brice? I'm the original. I'm the one who introduced that song. Fanny Brice introduced that song. Barbara Streisand, she's a secondhand Fanny. Yeah. I'm the one who was on the stage. I asked for the arpeggio. I said, Maestro, please. He gave me the arpeggio DiMaggio, and I heard it like I'm hearing it now, except it was a little louder. That's it. And I said, Father had a business, strictly secondhand. Everything from toothpicks to a baby grand. Stuff in our apartment came from Father's store. Everything I'm wearing, someone wore before. It's no wonder that I feel abused. I never had a thing that ain't been used. I'm wearing second-hand hats, second-hand clothes. That's why they call me what? Good. Even my piano in the parlor. Father bought for 10 cents on the dollar. Hey, secondhand coils. I'm wearing secondhand coils. Well, I never had a single thing that's new. Even Jake the plumber, he's the guy I adore. He had the knife to tell me he'd been married before. Oh, everyone knows I'm only second-hand rose from Second Avenue, from Second Avenue. No. You know what? It feels good to hear applause from a real live flesh and blood audience. It's nice. Okay, so now we got a deal. I'm going to tell you about myself, and I'm going to start with my mama. My mama, Rose Stern. Beautiful, wonderful woman. She was an immigrant. She came here from Hungary. She worked in Newark, New Jersey, in the factory, in the sewing machine factory. That's it. And somebody introduced her to Charles Borak. He was a bartender. And he was another greenhorn. He came from Germany. They met, they fell in love, they got married. They had 4 kids, boom, 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 boom. I was number 3. After a couple of years, they saved enough money and they bought their own tavern. And pretty soon, my mama, she learned how to run that whole business herself. She took care of the customers. She did the bookkeeping. She was raising us 4 kids, and between you and me, we were a lot of trouble, like the little rascals. But she did all that. Why? Where was Papa? Almost every day, he liked to go out and be with his friends and drink and gamble and play cards. That's the truth. So what did I learn from that bad marriage? Bupkis. Bupkis. That means nothing. I did pretty much the same thing myself. So after a couple of years, my mama, she got sick and tired of him just living off of her like a bum. So guess what she did? Secretly, she sold the business. She woke us kids the middle of the night. She woke us up, and she took us to Brooklyn, New York, where she got a job in real estate. And that was that. So I was 12 years old. What happened to Papa? He faded out of our lives, which made it easy for him because he never paid another cent for any of us. But I got to tell you, when I was a little kid, my Papa was my hero. And why? Because he took the time to sit and listen to me sing, and I love to sing. And I'm sorry that they didn't have a little bit of him in the show Funny Girl. You get to see my mama, but you never know about my Papa. And it would have been nice just to show that we had a nice relationship at one time, and then he disappeared from my life. So if they could have put a little scene like this, they could have had a little kid, she's 7 years old or so, and he's sitting there, and she goes, Papa, I got a new song. Listen, I'm learning. I'd rather be blue, thinking of you. I'd rather be blue over you than be happy with somebody else. Da 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 da. Boom, boom. Then she bows, he throws money, they hug, like that, just to show. Hindsight, they say, 20/20 vision. When I was a kid, I thought my Papa was the most generous man in the world. What'd he do? I sang a song. He reached into the cash register, grabbed a handful of coins that my mama worked like a dog to make, and he threw it at me, some big shot. Right? So I love to sing now. When I was a kid, that's what I did. What didn't I like when I was a kid? School. I hated school. What a waste of time. Ay, ay, ay. So when I moved to Brooklyn, I made a girlfriend, Harriet. Harriet taught me something very important. Harriet taught me how to play hooky. Oh, the places she took me to, whoa, what an adventure. She took me to McKinney's Theater in Brooklyn. The first time I went there, I couldn't believe my eyes and my ears. Up on the stage there, they had singers, dancers, jugglers, animal acts, comics, everybody up on the stage performing to the best of their ability because they wanted to win the first prize. The first prize was a lot of money. We used to call it moolah or mazuma, a lot of mazuma. You could get $5 if you won first prize. One day Harriet dares me to get into it. I didn't know what I was thinking. I took the dare. I'm waiting backstage. Gone on ahead of me is this guy. He's got on a derby hat and curly mustache and nice vest. He looks good. And he starts strutting his stuff and singing his song. I thought he was good. But over there, somebody else, give him the hook. Then, give him the hook. Give him the hook. Everybody's chanting, give him the hook. Give him the hook. Ay, ay, ay. Then, off from the side, this guy, like a giant, he has a long pole, goes out, hooks that guy, and pulls him off the stage. Ay, that poor loser, I felt so sorry for him. You know, so all of a sudden, somebody gives me a push and a tush. I'm in the middle of the stage. A skinny, funny-looking 13-year-old in the middle of this stage. I say funny-looking, but the truth is, I was ugly. Ugly. And I knew I was ugly. I knew it since I was a little kid, you know. A lot of the people, a lot of them strangers, they felt it was their responsibility to tell me. So that's how I knew. So I start singing a song, and of all things, I'm singing a popular love song. I must have looked like a cartoon to the audience there. But as soon as I start singing that love song, in my head I'm praying, please God, don't let the hook hurt me too much. And I keep singing, and I keep praying, I don't want to be black and blue. And I keep singing and praying and singing. All of a sudden, the song's over. No hook. But I hear from the audience a sound I never heard before in my life, a loud roar. I started backing up. I thought they were going to come up and kill me. But they're standing up. They're cheering for me. They're throwing money on the stage. They liked me. I couldn't believe it. Oh, yeah. I still get goose pimples. How about that? Anyway, I picked up that money fast as I could. I stuffed it in my pockets. And I came home, money in my hands, in my pockets. And on the way home, I'm thinking to myself, this is a message. This is a message from above. I'm going to be an entertainer. And I better get serious, and I better buckle down and get serious about it. This is my career. So I did. I made a plan, a schedule. 3 days a week, whether I want to or not, I'm going to play hooky. And on weekends, I'm going to take my little brother, my little brother Louie, to Coney Island. There's a reason for that. We had a plan. I would take Louie on the nickel trolley on the weekends to Coney Island. When we got there, we sat down on the bench where it worked good. I'd give his hand a little pinch. Then he'd go, And somebody would always come over. Ooh, what's wrong with the little boy? Then I went into my act. Oh, I lost the buddy, the trolley buddy. We were going to visit our grandma. We love our grandma, and she's very, very sick. And I don't have the buddy now. You know what, folks? There's a lot of nice people in this world. Yeah, usually a woman will come over, and she would say, oh, here's some money for you nice children to go see your grandma. Take the trolley. And often somebody would say, and here's a little extra. Get yourself something nice to eat. Oh boy, we'd put it over on them. When I got something to eat, I got something that was out of this world. Maybe you remember. It was called a Charlotte Russe. Oh, Charlotte Russe, delicious cake with the whipped cream on top, a little cherry on top. You got it. That's what it was. That was out of this world. And my brother, Louis, he always got the same thing for himself each time. He got himself a shtickle pickle. Yeah, so I had the sweet tooth, he had the sour. Then he went on the beach. He sat there for hours. Well, I studied my craft. I always call Coney Island my acting academy, because that's where I learned. I would watch people, all ages, all shapes and sizes, all accents, because they came from all over the world. And I would watch them, and I would study them, and I would do impressions of them before I went home so I could remember. And the one, we couldn't even leave until I did my brother's favorite one. We couldn't go home until I did Mrs. Cohen, because she used to take her little grandson, Bernie, to the beach. So I did something like this for my brother. Bernie, honey, if you're making pissy in the water, move away fast so nobody knows you're the one making the warm spots. Okay, sweetheart? Oh, my brother's sides were aching him. Then we went home. And that's what we did. So that was my schedule. My schedule, by the way, it worked so good that I was officially kicked out of school when I was 14. Yeah. So what could I do? I had to find some more. I found some more amateur contests, and I went by myself. I went, did them in Newark, New Jersey, Brooklyn, New York City, and I started winning some of those contests. And I started bringing home some pretty good money. And most of it, I gave to my mama. And listen to this coincidence. My mama, she stopped nagging me to go back to school. Yeah. And she became my business manager. And from then on, we were like this, close. It was wonderful. So what I do with the rest of the money, I bought myself beautiful hats, dresses, gloves, shoes, pocketbooks, all colors of the rainbow. And all of them secondhand. Secondhand, that could have been my middle name, you know? What did I see over here? It looks like it might be water. If it's not water, what's the worst thing can happen to me? I die. I did that already. So, see. It's good. So, let's see now. What I did with the rest of the money, and then I bought the clothes for myself, and I did the secondhand. I introduced that song on Broadway in a variety show. The next day, the headline said, Fanny Brice is the brightest light on the show. Oh, boy, that was nice, right? Yeah. And so, you know what was lucky, too? Because I had just recently changed my name from Fania Borak to Fanny Brice. So now the critics, they could read it easy, they could say it easy, and write it easy too. So that was good. Now, I don't want you to think that I jumped just from doing amateur contests into this Broadway stage, because along the way I had what they call pay your dues. So when I was 15, 16 years old, I worked in any theater that would let me, whether I got paid or not. I did everything. I did costumes, I learned how to make scenery, I ran errands. I did everything, including washing the toilets. I'm not proud of it, but I did it. Show business. But I gotta tell you, some actors are real slobs. It's true. I got an idea. I made a big sign, and I put it behind the toilet on the wall. And on it I wrote, "Please stand close. The next guy might be barefoot." It helped a little bit, and I got a big laugh, so that was worth it. So I wanted to be in that theater every rehearsal and every performance, so that when my time came and I was performing, I would know what was what and who was who. So that's how it happened, that by the time I was on this variety show, I had learned to kibitz with the audience. That means you kid back and forth, and there were explosions of laughter here and there and here and there. And somebody got in touch with me after the show, came back, a very famous producer. Maybe you know who it was. Florence Ziegfeld. Now, he's in the show. He's in the show, Funny Girl. And it's true. He discovered me. I didn't even have to audition for him. He saw that the people laughed and they liked me. He asked me to be in the Ziegfeld Follies. Now, the Ziegfeld Follies, that was the big time. And something that was very special were the Ziegfeld girls. Maybe you know. Gorgeous, gorgeous girls, beautiful shapes, and the faces, perfect features. Blondes, brunettes, redheads. And I'm in the same show with them. And who did the critics write about the most? Fanny Brice. So I thought to myself, I must have stood out like a bagel in a loaf of white bread. So I got a lot of attention, and I gotta say that Ziggy was good to me. 14 years I worked for him. We had little differences, but we always straightened out. He was like a god for me. He was so wonderful. So I was very glad that they told that story the way it happened. But now that I'm back, now I got a chance to give credit where credit is due. There was a little guy in my life, did something very important for me, not even mentioned. Not mentioned in Funny Girl, and I don't know why. But now I can tell you. What happened was, I got a chance to be in a burlesque show. I think I was 16, 17, like that. I had a chance to sing a song in this burlesque show. The headliners in the show were comics named Smith and Dale. Everybody loved them. They made a movie about them, too, called The Sunshine Boys. Well, they're the headliners, and I got a chance to be in that same show. I got to get a good song. So I took myself down to Tin Pan Alley. That's a place in New York City where singers, songwriters, and publishers, they would get together, hang around, swap lies, and try and get business for themselves. So I'm looking for a good song. I need a special song. I only got one chance to make a first impression and be remembered. This little guy's there. He's a songwriter. He's a friend of mine. And he says to me, "Fanya," see, that's how young I was. "Fanya, I got just the song for you. And you know what? You do this song with my blessing. You don't have to pay me for it. But if you do the song, you gotta do it with a strong Yiddish accent." Believe it or not, folks, I didn't have a Yiddish accent. I had a Brooklyn accent, but not Yiddish. I didn't even know Yiddish expressions because my mama really didn't use them. But I did it for the song, And the song was such a hit that I learned Yiddish expressions after that, because that little guy, he was right. He told me, if you do Yiddish on stage once in a while, the people will find it funny, they'll be laughing, and you'll be a hit. That song was such a hit. And that little guy who gave me the advice, who is not mentioned in Funny Girl, he later changed his name too. Maybe you heard of him? Irving Berlin. Yeah. Thank you, Izzy. So now I gave him credit. So since that song was a hit, other people, the other songwriters, they tried to jump in on the bandwagon. So they used the same expression, the same recipe. They took a little klezmer music, a little belly dancing, a little comedy. They mixed it up, like the song I'm going to do for you now. And you're going to hear the orchestra. You're going to hear another voice when I do the song. But it's not cheating, because it's my voice on the recording. So, music maestro. Louder. In the Bronx of New York City lives a girl who's not so pretty. Lena, what's her name? Such a clever girl is Lena. How she plays a concertina really is a shame. Wait, she's such a good musician. She got a good position to go across the sea to entertain. And so they shipped Paulina way out to Palestina. And now I hear that she don't look the same. They say that Lena is the queen of Palestine. All because she plays a concertina. She plays it every night. She plays with all her might. She never gets it right. But how they love her, think more of her. I heard her play once or twice. Oh, later, still it was nice. She was fat, but she got leaner, pushing on her concertina down, oh, Palestina way. Lena's girlfriend Arabella had her meet an Arab fella. They thought he was grand. On a camel's back a-swaying, you should hear Miss Lena playing, oh, the desert sand. She didn't know much nuance, so all she played was new ones. Till Yusuf sat and listened by the tent. And as he leaned to kiss her, she heard that Arab mister say, Lena, how I love your instrument. They say Lena is the queen of Palestine. All because she plays her concertina. She plays it every night. She never gets it right. She plays with all her might. And how they love her, think more of her. Oh, nothing sounds like it should. So rotten. They think it's good. All the girls there look like Lena. Some eat oatmeal, some farina. Down oh Palestina. Down oh Palestina way. Oi. Ah, thank you, thank you. I heard you laughing. I love to make people laugh. I always love to make people laugh, and I was good at it. Boy, I wish I was half as good at marriage. There I was a 3-time loser. 3. Now, my first marriage, I bet you don't know about. I was married to Frank White, the local barber. He liked young girls. I was a teenager. He proposed to me, and I accepted. Now, I don't know about you ladies, but when I was growing up, nobody talked about the birds and the bees and the chickens and the piggies or anything about sex. Nobody. So I knew Nothing from nothing, you know? We got married, we went on the honeymoon, and Frank starts telling me all these cockamamie crazy things he wants me to do, like science fiction. I pushed him away. I said, "Feh." I went into the bathroom, and I locked myself in there. He was unhappy. I was unhappy. So I came home to Mama. That was my first marriage. Bet you didn't know about that. But my second marriage, hey, that one, that you heard plenty about. Nicky Onstein, Nicky Onstein, Nicky Onstein. Ay, ay, ay. You heard about it, but not necessarily the truth. All right, I'll tell you. The true part was, when I met Nicky, I fell head over heels in love with Nicky Onstein. We first met, I thought maybe we had met in a previous life because we understood each other so much that he confided things in me. He just met me. He told me, when we first met, that he had been in prison. He had been in Sing Sing. He was framed. Ay, ay, ay. I felt so bad for this nice man. Yeah. Guess what else he told me when we first met, ladies? He told me he was single. Ay, 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 what a two-faced, lying son of a gun he was. That's what he turned out to be. Ha! Well, it's true we got married. He got divorced and we got married. And we were married for 20 years. 2 wonderful children, a daughter Frances, a son William. And all through those years, I paid a fortune. I worked hard and I paid a fortune each time I had to get him out of jail for his gambling debts so that he could come and be home with his loving family. The last time I paid for him to come home, he was home less than a week, and I find out that he's fooling around with some blonde bimbo and cheating on me. She was even older than me, but she was richer. So that was that. Finally, I kicked him out of the house, lock, stock, and barrel. Good riddance to bad rubbish. I should have done it years ago. Toy. The end. The end. Now, I can sense that some of you ladies are saying, "Hey, he wasn't so bad, Fanny. He wasn't so bad. He had reasons." I'm going to tell you why you think that. Because that show, Funny Girl, was produced by my son-in-law, Ray Stock, and my daughter. And they knew, they wanted to make a legend of me, which was nice. But they knew that Nicky Onstein was still alive, which I wasn't. And they knew that Nicky, he would sue if they showed what he was really like. And then the production would never get done. So they soft-soaped it a bit. And they made out like Nicky Onstein, he didn't want to gamble, but he only gambled because he wanted to help pay the household bills. Oh, what a lot of Bolsheviki that was, right? Then they took it a little step further. They used some child psychology on him. They got a handsome actor to play him. Now, this isn't sour grapes, but I got to tell you. Some of you have that little box they call a computer. The computer box, if you got one of those, when you get home later, you open up the box and you Google the name. You make a Google and you put the name, Nicky Onstein. Yeah. His picture will come up. Not so handsome. He was just an average-looking man. But he was some sweet-talking man. That Nicky. That Nicky. He broke the law, but he broke my heart. know that I'll soon forget with my man. He's not much for looks, no hero out of books. He's my man. 2 or 3 girls, says he, that he likes as well as me. But I love him. I don't know why I should. He isn't good. He isn't true. He needs me too. What can I do? Oh, my man. I love him so. He'll never know my life is just a spare. But I don't care. 'Cause when he takes me in his arms, the world is mine. All right. Oh, well, what's the difference if I say, I'll go away? When I know I'll come back on my knees someday. For whatever my man is, I'm his. You know, people used to love to hear me sing that song. And when I sang that song, you could almost hear a pin drop. Why couldn't you hear the pin drop? Too many people were blowing their noses. Yeah, they cried every time I did that song because they thought that I was singing about my life and that maybe I wrote the song. I'll tell you why I did that song. My boss, Ziegfeld, he was in Paris, France. He heard a chanteuse singing that song. He paid. He bought the rights to the song, brought it back to New York, and he calls me up and he says, Fanny, get over here. You're going to learn this song. We're putting it in a show as soon as possible. It's a torch song. A torch song? A torch song for me? I thought he was crazy. Mashugana, that means crazy. I thought he was, but he wasn't. He was a genius. Because he knew everybody was reading the headlines, and the headlines all screamed out, Nikki cheats on Fanny. Fanny and Nikki getting divorced. And so every time I sang that song, that's what the people thought about myself. So it became a trademark song. And I was very glad when I saw the show, Funny Girl, that Barbra Streisand did it. I got to tell you, she did a great job. She was the right person to play me. Guess who wanted to do it? Guess who wanted the part? Mary Martin. Mary Martin, yeah. Her agent tried to get it. And guess who else? Shirley MacLaine and Anne Bancroft. They all wanted to play. So my daughter Frances, insisted the only person to do the show would be this young girl. Never did a movie before, Barbra Streisand, and she was right. So I just loved seeing the way she did my songs in the show. But there are a lot of songs in that show that were written after I died. Just written, they got Bob Merrill and Julie Stein, the best writers in the business. They wrote songs that just carried my life story along. I would have loved to have the chance to sing, I'm the greatest star, I am by far, but no one knows it. That's a great song. All the music was terrific. But there's one song in that show that made me laugh so hard. I was on cloud 9. I had to sit down and cross my legs because I was laughing too much. It was a good one. It's based on this little expression we had. She's a Sadie. She's a Sadie meant she's a lady. She stays home. She doesn't do anything for anybody else. She wants everybody to help her. She's spoiled. I was never like that. But the song is terrific. And Barbara does a great job. And now we're going to do that song for you because I'm getting music from heaven. She's on a chaise lounge, her hand all verpitzt. I'm Sadie, married lady. But when I go by, I'm a corporation now, not me, myself, and I. How that marriage license works on chambermaids and hotel clerks. The honeymoon was such delight. We got married that same night. I'm Sadie, married lady. I'm still in bed at noon. I'm racking my brain deciding between orange juice or prune. Nick says nothing is too good for me. So who am I to disagree? I'm Sadie, married lady, that's me. Die, 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 die. I'm Sadie, married lady. Meet a mortgagee. Hey, I'm the owner of an icebox. With a 10-year guarantee. Hey, sit me in the softest seat. Quick, a cushion for my feet. Do for me, buy for me, lift me, carry me. Finally got a guy to marry me. I do my nails, read up on sales. All day the records play. Then he comes home, I tell him, hey, by the day I had today, I swear I'll do my wifely job. I'll stay at home. Become a slob. I'm Sadie, married lady. Husband, house, her mortgage, a baby. I'm Sadie, married lady, that's me. Hoo-ha. I like that song. I'm glad you like that song too. So by the end of that show, funny girl, my marriage to Nikki is over. 7 years later, my daughter Frances and her husband, they produce another show, and they call it Funny Lady. Funny girls are first, then Funny Lady. That's where you get to meet my third husband, Billy Rose. Now, Billy Rose, it was funny because Nicky Onstein, he was 6'5", and Billy, he's shorter than me. So I know you ladies are thinking I got the long and the short of it. It's true. But there was more to it than that, because Nicky, he would have been happy to live on my salary for the rest of his life. And Billy loved to be able to pay me the big bucks to star in his show. He was more than just a nightclub owner. People remember Billy Rose's Diamond Horseshoe. That was in New York City. He did more than that. Billy wrote, directed, produced. He was a little dynamo of show business. And, he liked to feature me. And he did this show. Also, he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, the Songwriters Hall of Fame. That's what they call it. Lots of songs that you'll remember. If you don't believe me, you go home and Google. You'll Google it. Now, he wrote a review, put it together. He hired the writers, but he produced it. It's called Crazy Quilt. Crazy Quilt. It was terrific. He got some of the best writers to do skits for me and songs for me. I did some of my best songs, like Becky is Back at the Ballet and Look at Me, I'm an Indian. Whole lot of terrific songs and numbers. And for the opening number, he says, Fanny, I want you to do this opening number. I want you to be glamorous. Wait, that's going to take a lot of acting. He says, I don't want you to be a klutz. I don't want to see any mugging. I wrote a new song, and I want you to open the show with it. You like to do impressions? Make believe Yeah, Ginger Rogers. So they got me an outfit, fit like a glove, fixed my hair. I thought I'd go along with it, and I'll do my best. He's featuring me. I'm going to do my best. So what I did, I hear the orchestra, and I'm thinking, don't be a klutz, don't trip. Now, I'm Ginger Rogers. It was a lucky April shower. It was a most convenient door. I found $1 million baby in the 5 and 10 cent store. The rain continued for an hour. I stayed around for 3 or 4. Around that $1 million baby in the 5 and 10 cent store. Well, he was selling China, and when he made those eyes, I kept buying China until that crowd got wise. Incidentally, if you should run into a shower, just step inside my cottage door. Come meet the $1 million baby from the 5 and 10 cent store. Then, 6 of the most gorgeous guys you ever saw in your life. They come dancing in from the other side of the stage. They got on outfits like Fred Astaire, you know, and the top hats and everything else, and they start twirling me all around like I'm a feather in their arms. One to the other, to the other. And then, by the time I got to the last one, they pick me up, bring me to the middle of the stage, and then they set me down real graceful like 5 of them leave. And the one stayed with me, got his arms around me. He was selling China, and we're dancing together. And when he made those eyes, I kept buying China until the crowd got wise. Incidentally, if you run into a shower, just step inside my cottage door and meet the $1 million baby in the 5 and 10 cent store. Then we rush to the side and we hug and kiss. Ladies, I gotta tell you, I love doing that number. It was the second best feeling in the world. It was so much fun. And you know what? The reviews were great. The reviews were great for everything, the show, everything I did in the show, including that opening number. And I gotta tell you, I was no threat to Ginger Rogers. I knew that. But at that time, I moved pretty good for a singer. So we were happy with it. It went on for quite a while, and finally, Billy says, you know what? I'm going to take the show on the road. So we got ready. He booked us in places, some of the places across the country, never even saw a live actor before. They didn't have live theater in some of these places. How are we going to get an audience? What are they going to think? So he got this great publicity man. What he did, he made up a big poster, took a picture of the little girls, the young girls, the chorus girls, in their costumes, almost naked. You know, they looked adorable. Puts it in a big picture, and then on that, he puts like a little white banner. Coming soon, warning, this immoral show coming to your theater soon. Guess what? We were sold out in advance. It's true. Columbus, Ohio, standing room only. So they loved the show. We were doing great with it. But along the way, my health started going bad. I started getting, it was very physical. It was a really tough job. I loved my job, but it was taking a toll on my health. Sometimes I'd have a fever, 101, 102. I'd stay in bed all day. But I got up in time for the curtain. I never missed a show. You know why? Anybody know here? The show must go on. The show, you see, a lot of people know. Was that one of the 10 Commandments? Anyway, everybody knows the show must go on. But I'm thinking to myself, I can't do this forever. What am I going to do next? I'd already done a little bit of films in Hollywood. I never enjoyed it because you didn't have an audience, you didn't have any laughter. You're just on a stage. You can't improvise and move a little bit this way and that way. No response. The only thing on the stage is this giant eye, one camera that followed me around. I didn't enjoy the experience, and I didn't like the way I came off without some kind of live audience. So I didn't want to have to do that again. But I started reading and hearing things are changing. A lot of people are staying home now for their entertainment. What they do, they sit down in front of a piece of furniture, they turn a knob, and out comes radio. Radio. And all kinds of people getting their own radio shows. Keb Calloway, Gene Autry, Eddie Cantor, even that weasel, Walter Winchell, had his own show. So I'm thinking, this is what I want. I want the Fanny Brice show. After all, how many people are telling me I have a face for radio? So it should be a cinch, right? So I get some of my contacts and I tell them, look into it, get me some sponsors. When we get back to New York, that's what I want to do. So we finished the tour, get back to New York. Nothing definite, a couple of maybes, nothing definite. So I decided to take a little time. I took a vacation. I took my kids. We went to Paris. On the ship, and in Paris, and coming back again on the ship, we were treated like royalty. It was one of the highlights of my life. Back in New York City, it was like I got slapped in the face, is how it felt. I picked up a newspaper and it says, Chesterfield backs out of sponsoring Fanny Brice. Then, Lucky Strike backs out. Chevrolet backs out. All three possibilities gone. I don't know why. All I know is I had offered to do that show for half my salary. And I also offered to give the scripts free. So this was the lowest point in my career. I felt worthless. And I felt humiliated. So Billy says to me, Fanny, don't even think about it. I'm going to get the best writers. We're going to put on another show. You'll be up on a Broadway stage. That's what he said. And he did. He got some writers. They start writing. Well, of course, don't you know, that's when I get a call to do a radio show. And I took it. It was not my show, but it was a toe in the door. I got my toe into the radio business. I was hired to be the girl singer for a big band show on the radio once a week. I got to tell you, that job was so easy, I could have done the job blindfold. All I had to do was show up and sing a popular song from that day. Like this one that my husband, Billy Rose, wrote. Now listen, ladies especially. The man, he was like a poet, like a romantic poet. Wait till you hear this song. I think you know it. It's beautiful lyrics. More than you know, more than you know. Man, oh whether I'm wrong. Man of my heart, I'll string along. You need me so. More than you ever know. Loving you the way that I do. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, loving may be all you can give, but honey, I can't live without it. Ooh, how I'd cry. How I'd cry if you got tired and said goodbye. I need you so. More than you ever know. Lovely song. Isn't that a lovely song? I mean, beautiful. The lyrics, the words. What a romantic. I just can't believe it. He's just really did a beautiful job with that. So, well, okay, I'm going to move along now because shortly after that, Billy asked me for a divorce. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, it happens, right? It happens. He fell in love with this leading lady. He was producing a show called The Aquacades. I was busy with the show I was doing. And in The Aquacades, Eleanor Holm starred in it. She was an Olympic swimmer, a gorgeous girl. They fell in love, and they wanted to get married. He asked me, and I said, fine, gave him the divorce. Now in the show, funny lady, that Fanny Brice, she goes crazy, and she does dirty tricks, nasty things, because she's so upset. A lot of Bolsheviki once again, because he wanted to marry her, she wanted to marry him. I said, okay, I never said anything nasty in private or in public about it, and we got divorced. And they got married, so there was no scandal here. But a couple years later, when Billy and Eleanor Rose got divorced, there was the scandal. That was what the newspapers called the war between the roses. Yeah. But tell you the truth, and I think Billy knew this, I never really fell in love with Billy. I fell in like with him. You know, we had a lot in common. Show business, we thought the same way. And so that's what it was. So anyhow, I had an idea. I had one of the best ideas I ever had when I invited my friend Roger to move in with me. Now, I knew Roger for a number of years because when I was in the Ziegfeld Follies, a young girl, he was a chorus boy. And once in a while, we would find her in the same shows together through the years. And we always got along. So when I asked Roger to move in with me, my life got so much easier. I had no more stress. Roger, he liked to answer my fan mail. He answered the phones. He became my manager, my assistant, whatever. He helped me in everything. He drove me to jobs. He reminded me who was who, what their names were, and why, because I never would remember that. He loved to shop. He loved to cook. He had a great sense of humor, and he was gay. What more could I want? He was perfect. So I was so glad when I saw the movie Funny Lady that they put him into the movie. And they had somebody play his part who was very good at it, Roddy McDowell. So that was nice. So after a while, I got a little bit more than my toe in the door at the radio station. I ended up getting my own show, but it was not the Fanny Brice show. It was based on a little character that I used to do at my friends' parties. It was a little girl, and she would always be asking questions. Why, Daddy, why? How come, Daddy? What? Why? How come, Daddy, why is Uncle Billy going hunting bear? Did somebody steal his clothes? That kind of a character. That kind of a character. Maybe you remember, it was called the Baby Snooks. Baby Snooks. So it was not the Fanny Brice show, the Baby Snooks show. And it was a family show. And people all across the country, they loved this little pest. I don't know why. Maybe because it wasn't their little pest. But that show was one of the highest rated shows on radio for 14 years. Yeah, it would have gone on longer, except I had a stroke in my brain and I died. See, people laugh. It's all in the delivery, right? But that's the truth. That's what happened. That night on NBC, the announcer said, "Ladies and gentlemen, today we have lost a warm, very wonderful woman, Fanny Brice." That was nice. That was nice. And even more, Georgie Jessel, he said more wonderful things at my funeral. More than 2,000 people came to my funeral in New York City. If you don't believe it, you go home and make a Google. Google, whatever. 2,000, who would know? I didn't do so bad for a dropout, right? So, I just got somebody in here just asking me a question. Are you kidding me? Like I should know? Somebody's asking me, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of life? I don't know about your life, but my life was like a seesaw, ups, downs, ups, downs. I didn't have the best marriage in the world, but I had the best mama and daughter and son and a bonus, grandchildren. Yeah, and that's how it went. And before Ziegfeld hired me, George M. Cohen fired me. That's how it was. But you just try and balance. And there's a song that Billy Rose wrote. It's on the computer too. You know what to do. It goes, no. He doesn't come yet. Take your share of trouble. Take them and don't complain. Because if you want the rainbow, you must have the rain. Happiness is double after you've had some pain. So if you want the rainbow, you must what? You must have the rain. Yes, that's true. That's true. And it's pretty true now, because when I got here, I thought I was going to have like a first-class trip coming back down, and I went through all that blizzard, storm, hurricane, and everything else. But when I got here, you folks doubled my pleasure, and I'll tell you why. And now Harpo Marx is going to give me the little introduction, and I'm going to tell you why you doubled my pleasure. Now I'll hear Harpo. Come on. See, my good friend. You let me sing a funny song with crazy words that rolled along. And if my song could start you laughing, I'm happy. That made me happy. And then you let me sing a sad refrain of broken hearts that loved in vain. And if my song started you crying, I don't know why, but I'm happy. Yeah. And then you let me sing a low down blues. And if you're the blues. Colorate your shoes and start your tapping your feet. I'm happy. Let me sing Dixie's tunes, cotton fields, and Mammy's arms. And if my song can make you homesick, I'm happy. Yes, sir. Come up and see me sometime, but not too soon. Thank you. Okay. And for those of you who know me by the pigtail, this is who I really am. Thank you, folks. I had enjoyed performing for you. Of course, I had so much fun. Ooh. I had fun. I know, you're standing up to get out fast. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer. No questions? I wrote it last, a year ago, January. And when I wrote it, it was before the Oslo did theirs, and which was funny because I did it for a group of writers just to see what their opinion was. And somebody said, who's going to want to see Fanny Brice? And then 3 months later, or so 4 months later, there was something in the newspaper that the Oslo was doing a new show about Fanny Brice. And so she was quite interesting. Thank you, thank you. How old was I when I died? Well, it's right now on stage. No. She was 59. She was 59. Yeah, right. Well, actually, my mother died when she was 57, but that's another story. But my mom used to do Fanny Brice and Sophie Tucker songs, so it's kind of fun to do this. It's like, yeah. Well, it was a nice, thick book written by, Barbara Morris, her name was. And I took the book out of the library, and she did a really thorough job of research, and it was very interesting. And there's a lot more that when I first wrote it, it was too long. It could have been 2 acts, but I think I like 1 hour. I think you're in, you have fun, you get out, and you're not thinking, when is it going to be over? You know, just so, but there was a lot more information that was unknown about her, but I guess you could read the book or so, or if I remember anything. Okay, I will tell you this. I just thought, didn't know whether to keep it into the original, 1 hour. She had her nose fixed. Did you know that? No, she had a nose job. But of course then Barbra Streisand couldn't have played it. Because, how can you do that? Have an actress start off with one, unless you're doing it the reverse. But, so she gave in to, finally, because she did have that feeling of insecurity, I guess, to be, when you think. But she was always funny. And everybody seemed to love her, her cronies and showbiz people and Eddie Cantor and Sophie Tucker. They were all buddies. Yes. I'm glad you asked that because Frances had a part in the Funny Lady show, because in the first one, of course, she wouldn't have been born. But in the second show, it did refer to her daughter. But it never refers to her son because he, by that time, was a teacher in college, and he was shy and private. So he asked, could they please leave him out? And so his sister and brother-in-law said, okay. Yeah, so he's not referred to. But I don't know that. I don't know. Somebody asked me, was her mother alive to see that she became a success? And at the time that they asked me, I said, my usual response, I don't know. But I did go home and think about it. Yeah, she was. She did see her, succeeding in her career. So playing hooky, was kind of a minute point. After all, she knew what she wanted. She had adversity to overcome. And I think it would have been nice to have the father in. So that's why I threw that in, really. I mean, if you had seen that she had that close relationship with her father, and then he disappeared but that was not mentioned at all. Because that's such a powerful life challenge, You love a parent and then they're gone by choice. Anyway, thank you for coming. And I do know that I'm going to be playing jazz. I'll do a commercial because it just came up today. There's a restaurant called, oh, what is it called now? Davino's on Main Street. And next Thursday night, there's a piano there where I play and sing jazz. If you have nothing to do, come. Were you there last week? Oh, thanks.